Hola, and welcome back to the M&E Show. My name is Emily.
And my name is Ethan.
So today is November 6th, the day after the election. A lot of feelings from just saying that to you all, with you.
I think we should take our normal 3 deep breaths together to really bring us all together into this present moment. So let's all start with a nice deep breath in. Hold it at the top and let it out. Breathe in. Hold it and let it go. Let's do that one more time. Breathe it in. Hold it and let it go. And here we are, episode number 2, back at it again.
Thank you for leading us in that.
My pleasure. And I hope those of you listening, if you did it last week or this is your first time tuning in, we'd like to start off every podcast with a few deep breaths just to bring us into this present moment a little bit more. And if you hear my voice being a little bit scratchy, I ran the New York City Marathon 2 days ago and I did a lot of screaming. The fact that I can even talk at all right now is impressing me, but my voice is definitely not at its strongest. So please bear with me throughout this episode. And Emily, thank you for being here with me.
My pleasure.
I want to start off by just asking you how you're feeling in this present moment.
When you first told me this morning that Trump had won the election, sadness washed over me, grief, hard feelings. As the day has gone on, I've been feeling more at peace with those hard feelings. And then I'll still have moments thinking about collective sadness we might be experiencing, and I'm brought back into those hard feelings. So it's been a dance of me embodying those feelings and me just being one with them and looking at them and learning from them. I feel it's very easy to speak on the sadness from these results. And at the same time, I want to challenge myself to be the woman I want to be speaking on this. And what I want to say is, in this moment, everything's okay. I'm so grateful for this present moment with you here on this couch. I was nervous about filming this episode. Ethan right away this morning was like, we should talk about the election. And my first instinct was, fear. I want to think about it. But I think as the day has gone on, again, this is exactly what people need to witness, which is a dialogue between partners on news that is challenging, and people need to witness us challenging ourselves to share our feelings in real time, because it's not easy. And at the same time, this is where growth on an individual and societal level begins, is being able to feel the feelings, to be one with them, and to share them. And for those listening to the feelings, to receive them and not necessarily take on the feelings, but hold space for them and think about how one could be feeling. And I also thought, walking on the street today, where do we go from here? But that's not the question I want to ask. It's how here can we be? And
I love that.
what does that mean exactly? It means accepting what we cannot control and having the courage to change the things we can, and holding hands with the realization that we are all, to an extent, responsible for why society is the way it is today, for why Trump is reelected. This is an opportunity for an awakening of sorts to better our world in ways we could not have anticipated even a year ago. This is a momentous opportunity, and I'm excited to channel all the hard feelings into persistence, courage, and positive change. That's what I want to say.
I feel like you could drop the mic after that.
We must hold the mic. I must continue holding the mic. No matter how I feel from just you saying that, and whatever feelings that still arise from the news this morning.
And for context sake, for the audience who is perhaps listening to this either when we're putting this episode out in December of 2024, or perhaps listening to this episode at another point in time that is perhaps a year after the election or 5 years, we can only be here now in this moment with each other, both Emily and I and you listening, and decide, what do we do today to move forward in a positive and productive manner? Because we can't change the results. We're faced with our reality, and now it's time to decide, what actions can we take as individuals and as communities to still live in the values and virtues and principles that we hold dear to us, to move society forward in a positive manner and light. And I know you didn't ask what my feelings were this morning, but I'll share them anyway because I'm sure you're curious. I actually didn't really feel much change at all because my purpose hasn't changed. My purpose hasn't shifted. I still am going to wake up and do my best to work on myself every day and share and serve those around me. And it doesn't matter who the president is or who's in power. I know what my purpose is, and that is to share my light and guide others who may need it while being guided by those who can help me as well. Doesn't matter where I am, doesn't matter when it is, my purpose does not change. And once you find that purpose, you come to realize that it doesn't matter who's in charge. Sure, there might be laws that are made that can affect people and that can have harmful effects, but we can all still work on ourselves and help those around us in our communities to make positive changes that will have ripple effects on the rest of society. So I welcome this challenge. It's not about politics. It's about being human, and how can we take a situation and make the best out of it and move forward together and spread love and light. I just coached a 9-person fitness class, and a lot of people came in here this morning with mixed feelings. And before the class even started, I said, whatever you're feeling right now is absolutely okay. And I want you to take all of those feelings, whether they be sadness, anger, confusion, depression, joy. I want you to channel all that into having a great workout and spreading your love and inspiration to those around you. Because it's not about the feelings that we have. We all share those. What it's about is how we take those feelings and do something about them. So take what you're feeling and channel it positively. Do good in the world that you live in today, whether it's December 2024 or October 2028, and do your part today. And that is how I'm living. Hopefully that's how you're living and you resonate with this message. And it's okay now, and it will be okay.
Thank you for that. I hear you.
My pleasure.
I feel like a theme that was interwoven in your response just now is just here and now. Like, what can we do here and now as individuals to be the light we want to see in the world? And we debated whether we wanted to talk about the election because one reason being because this won't be aired till like 2 weeks into December. But the truth is, any situation that involves challenge or brings up hard feelings is an opportunity to explore oneself and how one responds. So even though the election will have happened a month ago, then we on the human journey will always be challenging ourselves to cope with no matter what is thrown our way in life. And yeah, it's just amazing how much the power of words is, that power. Because it's just so amazing how the word Trump causes a twinge in me, but then I could say puppy and I just relax. And I think the question is how one can be most one with how words and the human behind those words, the human saying those words, how one can we be with how that affects us, let alone channeling our feelings into spreading joy and light, like you say. You know, like it's just amazing how I don't want to say like saying Trump and saying puppy have equal effects because Trump feels like higher stakes. It feels heavy because we associate harder feelings with more weight. But the way we respond is there is a response that causes a positive and less than positive reaction. I think that needs to be explored.
Well, speaking of words, I think this is a great segue. Perhaps it really is the association we have with the word that's being spoken. And if we were to let go of all the associations, perhaps every word becomes like the word puppy, as neutral as possible, because we can think of another word that society deems as essentially unspeakable to most groups, which is the N-word, which has so much attachment to history and really negative things that were done through the use of that word. And that word has garnered so much power that the African American community has essentially taken that word and said, this is our word. We are going to use it. And if anyone else uses it, it's deemed as bad. And you saying the word Trump makes me think about that and just how we associate words with different things, which then allows us to feel things through those words. And, we talk about words often. I think our whole society, at least with my experience here in New York City, has taken on our own version of language where when we greet each other now, it's almost code where the words that we're saying aren't actually what we mean, such as you greeting someone that you've never met before and them asking you, how are you? But you know that you only have about 3 seconds with that person. And for you to truly answer that question, you could probably sit down with that person all day and explain to them how you're feeling. But yet we use a term like that in passing. And it's almost code for, hi, I'm really busy right now. I don't really truly care how you are in this moment for the most part, but I want to acknowledge that I see you and that you are a fellow human who also feels perhaps a similar way that I do. And I don't want you to actually answer the question, but I do want to acknowledge that you exist.
Mm.
And I've just come to start questioning all of these figures of speech and phrases that we use to convey. I believe we're all trying to convey feelings and we don't know how to do it properly. We were never really taught how to convey how we're feeling. So we ask others how they're feeling to better understand ourselves.
To better understand ourselves and to hope that they'll share something that we feel to invite us to have the courage to share what we're potentially feeling in that moment. But yeah, how are you? That is one of the many phrases we have discussed. It's like, what are we saying? We need to take a step back to the beginning and be more intentional with what we say when we greet and depart from someone's presence.
This morning, actually, I don't think I've ever done this before, but I think I gave Raven a shout out before. Possibly not on this podcast, but Raven, this is a shout out for you if you're listening. People came into the gym this morning, and Raven is so good at this, but they came in and I didn't speak a word. I just looked at them, smiled, and gave them a fist bump, which is our greeting that we use here at Sid's Gym for our classes. It's an acknowledgement of one another, but I didn't speak when the people first came in. And I felt power in the silence.
Not needing to say anything.
And I believe that silence and being able to not talk is perhaps the strongest thing one can do to greet another human, because speech and sound is a gift. And
A privilege.
many people don't even have the ability to speak. So for us to even be doing this podcast is a gift. You guys can hear our voices right now and understand hopefully what we're the feelings and the messages that we're doing our best attempt to describe. But there are so many other ways we communicate that are even deeper than words. And Emily is an incredible singer, so her ability to change tone and pitch and volume has the ability and power to allow the listener to feel different feelings just through the way she navigates her own vocal cords. And we just have these gifts that we use very
Frivolous.
without intention. And it has the ability to affect people both in a positive but also a harmful way if we don't treat our gifts properly. And it's why I've begun to take a lot more pauses when speaking in order to make sure that every word that comes out is as intentional as I can make it. And I've noticed a big difference in my own speech, but also in my ability to relay a message to other people and for them to take it in the way I desire for them to receive it. And that is a great feeling, to convey a message properly where someone can actually receive it. Because there's one thing to give a long-winded monologue, because in a way that's me letting something out, but the next layer is for someone to actually receive that monologue and take in a lot of what you're saying, rather than just having you speak into the universe and have not necessarily another human being be able to take in what you're saying.
Yeah. There's so many phrases we've discussed that people just use as a reflex. They don't even think why they're saying it or how it can impact someone. Everything we say, it seems, comes from our own discomfort and wanting to put the spotlight on another human, and by doing that, indirectly putting a spotlight on themselves. And some of the phrases we've discussed include, how are you? Have a good one. Other fruitless questions like, how old are you? How's the job search going? It's like when someone asks me, how are you? I just am. Like you. We just are. Equally. We're both having a human experience. We both have had experiences and in life have felt a whole spectrum of feelings. And we just are. Like, look at this world around us. We just are. We're in it. We're here. So I'm wondering, what do you think? How can we elevate our society in terms of that first interaction? And I want to say the last one with a human that you're interacting with, the last interaction. Like, what do you think is... Because I really think it begins there. That is where change truly can begin, is that first hello. Even saying hello, if you're like, hi, it's just like, there's a difference, even not only what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah.
I mean, tremendous.
How about eye contact when you're saying it?
Yeah.
Do you want someone to respond to you? Is your intention to garner response, or are you just simply reacting because that's what you've been taught to do? When you said, how do we elevate society, I laughed, and those of you listening either heard that or saw it or both, because we should almost treat it as a game and start playing around. So if you were to ask me that question, go ahead.
Hello. How are you?
Peanut butter jelly.
Fruit snack.
Hippopotamus.
Beauty mark.
So what we're doing now is we're just playing. And because we're using what's coming to our minds, we're essentially turning off the robotic part of ourselves that's been programmed for so long, and we're allowing our deeper subconscious to come to the surface, because without time to think or to use previously learned systems, you have to start to be present. And then you'll notice you'll start to say things that sound a little bit weird,
Which is great.
which is amazing, because weird is okay. We're all weird. This whole experience is weird. The fact that we're talking on a microphone, being filmed by a camera, where other people are able to listen in, this is weird. This is as weird as it gets. I
It's
mean,
so crazy.
everything is weird. So I believe that in order to increase the consciousness and awareness of society, we need to play more and see what comes out.
I think that's so wonderful because really, perhaps there is no right way, and there are just ways to bring one more here. And it's just a constant exploration of how can we help each other be more here in this moment. I just can't help but reflect upon on Friday when we were in Central Park, and there was this lady sitting on the bench, and she looked so good, and she was just there by her lonesome. And then when we left, I just said to her, like, we probably won't see each other again, but I hope you have a beautiful life. Like, saying things that people don't expect that bring them more here and make them think and double take and take them out of the automatron robotic, like, bye, see ya, or have a good one. But to be intentional and to be okay with slowing down in that moment. Because what are we rushing towards? Like, why are we always going there? Why do we always want to focus on there and not be here? Like, I might have brought this up the first episode, but I'm just astounded by people who dine in the restaurant I work at, and they're barely paying attention to me serving them. They're barely paying attention to the people they're sitting with. They're just eating quickly, and it's like, are you okay? Like, let's be here for a second. What's so hard about being here? You know?
Let's travel back to a remark and a phrase that you just passed over so quickly, but it's one that it gets me excited. And that is, have a good one. Where did that originate? Who started saying have a good one? I truly am asking that question. If anyone knows, when was that phrase first used? Where was it used? Why was it used? How was it used? And how is have a good one still here today and being thrown around so easily, and nobody questions it except for me, and now you, and now all of us? Because let's just break it down. 4 words. Is A a word? It's
Yeah.
a letter, but it's have a good one. It's usually used to as a not as a greeting. What's the opposite of a greeting when you're leaving someone?
I don't know. A departure message.
Yeah, as a departure message. Greeting and farewell.
Farewell.
Farewell. Why don't we just start saying farewell? I'm going to start saying farewell.
Okay. I can't help.
I'm going to start saying farewell.
Do it. Play around. I think
Farewell.
farewell. I just want to
That's how we're ending our podcast.
farewell. I just want to say, for have a good one, I want to defend it for a second. And I'm putting a
Are you sure?
yes, because I'm thinking about the election again and how even though I'm focusing on myself and the feelings that are coming up for me around the results, we have to figure out how to still love, express love, share love, help love grow with those who have differing beliefs than us and understand them. And we need to understand and have empathy for those who say have a good one, because I do believe have a good one. I think there's a spectrum of greetings and farewells to the extent of presence and intention each phrase has. So bye is so like bye. It's like the least effort you can give. When you say have a good day, it's great. And then I feel like people who say have a good one, it's more have a good one. Like it's more there's even though the words themselves aren't intentional, there's more
When you say it,
personal intention behind it
Okay.
when someone says it. I feel like I feel like when someone says have a good one to me, I'd like to sense they see me in that moment. They're personally telling me have a good one, have a great day. Like it's more casual, but there's an element of personality and sharing in that energy between two people with have a good one. It's playful in a way. But I
Okay.
understand. So it's like I think it's important to look at why things are the way they are also and find the positives that
Can you try to say, sorry, I cut you off, trying to find the positives in everything. This conversation is truly serious. I really do have a lot of passion behind this, but at the same time, clearly it is comical because we're able to laugh about it. But it is a surface level phrase that's used that has a lot of layers beneath it, where if we figure out why people are doing something as simple as saying have a good one, I think we can learn a lot about ourselves and each other. And to me, saying have a good one, I want you to say it as lovingly as possible to me. And I want to see if even with the utmost love inside of that word, if that can raise the vibration of that sentence.
So I'm going to say it two ways. I'm going to start with the first way. Have a good one. Have a good one.
I feel sarcasm. I feel confusion. I feel hate. I feel fear. And I feel depressed when I hear that. There is no love and intention with that phrase.
I think the words alone, but I think the way one says it definitely gives it higher points, even though I agree with Ethan, it is not the ideal way. So when two people greet each other, like, how do you think it can be?
Two people should really do their best to meet each other where they're both at and be honest with it. And not shy away from how they're feeling and cover it up with meaningless banter.
Okay, so let's role play.
Okay.
I will be waitress, you will be guest. Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much. You are so beautiful.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I'm questioning. I'm wondering, even for a cashier at a register, if it was just like a hello with eye contact and there was a slow intention behind that hello, and then we just breathed, took one breath, and then we would feel if we wanted to continue the conversation from there. And if not, there's like an acknowledgement, and then we just continue and depart from the interaction. What do you think of that?
So, do you want to be the barista, or do you want to
Like
be
the
behind the
cashier.
counter? Yeah, at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm walking in. Hello,
Hi.
it's great to see you.
Do you feel obligated to say that? Like, do you still feel like that's a program? Like, do you even need to say that?
No, but I still struggle to keep silence because I know that the silence is really powerful and could perhaps make the person feel uncomfortable. Because I could do, it would still be a challenge for me to be silent. It would make me uncomfortable a little bit as well. But I for sure know that most people really struggle and are uncomfortable with silence. And it is a good challenge, but perhaps when I'm walking into someone else's space, it's not necessarily my obligation to challenge them. If they come into my space that I'm occupying, then they are welcoming whatever it is that I can give them.
Mm.
If I walk into their establishment, they're not necessarily asking for a challenge. So therefore, I want to make them feel at ease as best as I can, instead of the opposite, which is uncomfortable. And even though uncomfortability does lead to growth, that doesn't necessarily mean everybody needs to be uncomfortable all the time, especially when they are not inviting it. But if they want to play the game with me first and they're silent, I'll play the game to the best of my ability to be as here as I can with them.
I hear you.
And I want to try to meet people where they're at. Like I said, I think it's best for two people to come together and just meet each other where the other one is most comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think we can sense it and feel it in a deeper way than most people want to admit.
Mm. If that last role play was real, like when I'm feeling great and I'm serving, I am so happy to invite further conversation. But if we were to take that role play and be in real life, I don't feel the need to continue the interaction with you. Like I would just be like, I mean, I would respond, of course, but I think you're right in everything you said. And the way I would love it to be, I think, is very ideal. And we as a society are not there yet of just being able to sit in silence with someone, let alone alone with ourselves. So I think in an ideal society, we would all be at a place where we're so comfortable with silence and not feel the need to be a robot and have disingenuous conversation just to fill the void. And we would just be all at an elevated level where we just acknowledge each other, maybe took a breath together. And if one person felt inclined to say something, we're there for them, we're holding space for them. But if not, we just continue moving forward.
And then there's another layer to what's happening between the two individuals, which is the societal pressure of, if you're in a coffee shop, generally there's someone behind you.
Mm.
And at least in New York City, people are on the move. They are anxious. They are nervous. They are always wanting things quickly. So to take that moment with the barista could be extremely beneficial, but also know that by doing that, you're taking up more time, which could cause the person behind you to then get more anxious. So by helping one person, you're actually harming someone else. So there's so many layers to each of these interactions that we're having. Once again, most people don't want to think that deeply and realize that their actions are always affecting everyone around them. But we're humans. Everything we do affects the world and the people around us. And even something as simple and as seemingly to many meaningless as a interaction with a person who works at your local coffee shop, it really does speak volumes to what you do in the rest of your life. And I think you can learn a lot from how you treat someone when you first get coffee in the morning.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say, in conclusion, I always say this, there's only one of each of us on this earth, and every interaction is an opportunity to allow someone to be in their truth and in turn help you yourself be in your truth and to learn and grow and to spread positivity and light, whether that be for the barista in the morning, a cashier, your boss, a celebrity. We are all human, no matter what labels we have. And I just encourage us to continue, and everyone watching, I encourage everyone to play. This life is meant for play and exploration. It is okay. It's all good fun.
I feel we've played enough for this episode,
Yes.
and hopefully you do as well, those of you listening. And thank you so much for joining us again on this journey that we call life, but also this specific journey, the M&E Show. We are so grateful to each of you tuning in each week. And Emily and I were excited to film this episode today, and I believe we will be more and more excited each week about what we can create together, and the audience and those of you listening will be a huge part of it. We have some ideas that we came up with last week about how we can make the show even better. So be on the lookout for that, and any comments or questions you may have, please send us a message. Comment on wherever this podcast is being listened to. However you want to reach out to us, we are so open to feedback, both positive and constructive criticism, and just your feelings towards how you're receiving our words and our messages and our love. And we just thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us, and see you next time.
Farewell.